Hello, welcome back.
Hey,
Glad to have you here. Thanks for the $3,
yeah,
Rishi. Kyle, midterms today, kind of nervous, so here you are. Not a better way to spend your time before midterms.
exactly.
Convince me
Just to calm
otherwise.
you down.
Let me get some music started. Nope. Sure. Okay. So, we have an excellent plan today. Kind of.
We do have a plan. We do have a plan.
We do have a little bit of a plan. We have a modicum of a plan. An iota of a plan.
Mm-hmm.
A facsimile of a plan. We're experiencing a couple of technical stuff today, both myself and Raph, and I'm not quite sure why. So if we have issues, hopefully it's not too bad. I already know my microphone's quite loud. No.
My camera is deciding not to behave today, and it's
Juke
making me...
did another $3 said sleep well. No, I did not. I did not sleep well.
Look, neither of us sleep well. Come on, that's an easy question.
With how much rocking on through my head after Monday, no. But okay, so
what a session! Though. Just quickly, what a session!
What a session! Fucking sorry, spoilers. By the way, spoilers if we talk about this. Spoilers for just the most recent episode of Kingslayers. Bro, what a fucking session!
What a amazing session on so many different levels from so many different people. It was such a brilliant performance from people. Definitely, it highlighted Jen and Zamani like a lot of that, but I feel like from everyone as well.
For Zamani, like, to be fair though, Zamani past 2 weeks goated RP.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just knocking that RP
switched on, absolutely killing it. Yeah. So proud DM noises. I did fucking literally so little on Monday, just gone like in terms of like interacting with the party. But I described the shit out of the Valyrium canopy.
Yeah, like the Eldest Course and Yunda. I feel like, you know what? I can do this. Round 2, let's go.
It feels weird prepping for these sessions because it's like I don't even have to do that many notes. I just have to flick back to my Quenthian journey notes, like a lot of them. Like apart from like small updates to the canopy and stuff, it's a lot of similar stuff. So yeah, it's been a weird one prepping for these. Thankfully, it'll start getting a little bit more intensive on the prep on my side, like coming days for the boat journey and all. But going through Lavoka and then Yundav, it was just like, it's like my comfort zone. I've been there enough. Like, we spent enough time there in Quenthian Journey that's like, you know, just stepping into it, letting the muscle memory just take over. Like, it wasn't difficult at all, which was really cool. But yeah, it's I loved it. I can't wait to see where it goes and how much it keeps continuing. Because I genuinely like where the story's gone. Again, just preface massive spoilers. I think the connection that was made between Cal and Zamani most recently is just such a phenomenal story beat for me to like abuse as a DM. Just to hurt you guys emotionally.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it's God, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fucking fun Monday. I just want to play again. I hate that we've been having to end earlies. And I hate that these have been so irregular. So how you doing, guys? We've not been here. Yeah. I don't know the last Wednesday we did. So happy to be back.
Like a few Thursdays, a few Sundays.
Thursday, Sunday. I think there was even a Tuesday and Friday thrown in there with the one-on-one sessions. It's just like what is consistency? Like, my work doesn't like that, so why should I? Yeah, not us. So it's a wild one. It's pretty good, like, so far. Like, at least we've had like what I would kind of discern as like the quality, at least, that I'm looking for. Like, I don't feel like there's been a definite quality in the main game. But yeah, how has chat been for the few of you that are there to talk right now? Consistencies for the week be sporadic.
Exactly. Yep. That is the motto we live with, yeah.
Look, it's every Friday currently my work is putting out the schedule, and it's just like the most fucking frustrating shit because it's just like, boom, Friday, and I have to try and decide a schedule to start that starts on Monday. Which is just, you know, it's not that I wouldn't say fun or whatever, but it's not that easy. Like, it's very like very very much so. But so let's talk. Let's talk Toreth. So we've talked a lot about Undav. We've talked a lot about the Vethalier. We've talked a lot about the Alicet Arena, Piney. Vajika's sad. Vajika's missing one days. Yeah, sad to not have you there, my guy. It's always better when we have everybody there. So,
but hopefully
love to see you there.
You'll be able to grace us on Mondays once again.
Grace us with your presence.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, the Toreth Woods, somewhere that we haven't really been to in game, and we haven't really talked
about not at all. These, like we've just been
these sessions either.
Yeah, it's just like freaking gone. So
I think
we've never been there. Yeah, we've only ever been there once, and the edge of the Toreth Woods in a one shot, which I don't even think you were a part of.
I was not part of that. I think the Toreth Woods for me is very interesting to look at in terms of its history and its placement and stuff, because also it's where the Heart Tree is. The Heart Tree is in the Toreth Woods. Yeah,
it's quite close to Lake Headspire on the Toreth side. I think I've given you like a very vague location of like it's around here.
Yeah, when I was designing the
Heart Tree, the Shaddai.
Yeah, I forgot the actual name of the order, but
look, I would never.
Yeah. Yeah, so you gave me a rough location, but it is in the Toreth Woods, and the Toreth Woods. Honestly, like, is there a general description you can give of it? Like, is there any differences between the Toreth Woods and the Vethalier?
Vajik said, what the heck is a Heart Tree? So, Heart Tree is the... We've talked about the word many times, that it is one sentient forest, all connected by the roots. No two trees are actually two trees, they're all just different sprouts from the one, and it all comes down to the Heart Tree. There's one in each realm of existence, and they're all connected. And their roots stretch throughout all 9 realms of existence and connect them like a superhighway of planar travel. The Heart Tree is what gives life to the woad. So you could chop down any tree in the woad and it wouldn't affect it, but if you chop down the Heart Tree, you'd kill the entire woad. But that'd be probably very difficult to do, as the woad would probably kill you before you could do it.
Yeah, the chances of you doing that... look, anyone who did manage to do it, just like hats off to them, that is a very impressive feat.
Highly doubt off to the Dragon King.
Spoilers for campaign 4.
Spoilers for campaign 2.
Yeah, so the Toreth Woods, like, what are the major differences if you were to place them side by side with the Vethalier? Like, is there any major?
Well, no, because it's the same forest, my guy. Yeah, it's the same forest. Wood, so, like, the main differences are the inhabitants. So, while over in
pretty big.
Pretty big. So the Toreth, God, it's so cursed not having my glasses on. I just noticed there's a massive reflection on it, so I'm just trying to give them a clean. Canonically, you're still stuck in a crate in a ship being dead. Yeah, look, honestly, get wrecked, Kyle. Just
roll the d20 to see if the ship has landed, okay?
No, that ship is a... Look, you definitely got offloaded in Sathasa in a desert. 100%.
Smuggled goods.
Smuggled goods. No, so Kyle has smuggled greats. But I don't know. Does my glasses usually have this much of a reflection on them? On this side?
No. It's, for some reason, it's like really showing up.
I'm super crisp today, and it's frustrating me because
you're really crisp. And I'm super blurred. I don't get it. It's like you've stolen the crispness of my camera, and I'm just like, yep, taking it. Cool.
Yeah, our crispness.
I still have like a film grain that's just turned on my camera.
Yeah, you kind of do. Just a little bit.
Hey everyone, we're gonna try and change this from Word Winning Wednesdays to tech help Wednesdays. Stand by. No.
Oh, bro. Not even funny. So yeah, the biggest difference between the Toreth and Vethalier is the elves predominantly. So wood elves call the typical wood elves would call their home to Toreth, as well as the goblinoids. So you're talking bugbear, hobgoblin, and just regular goblin, but they're not barbaric, like kind of typical that you would see in some settings, like official little WotC settings, where it's like your typical goblin is considered a raider. They're very like shamanistic tribal culture, where each sort of like each pillar of goblin kind of bugbears, goblins and hobgoblins represent a different part of society, where the bugbears are kind of like, I want to say they're more like sentries. The I'll get my notes up specifically just so I have this fully correct. So for the species, so yeah, hobgoblins are the scouting forces. Bugbears defend the tribes, and the goblins are the shamans, like the spiritualistic like leaders, the druidic healers, the ones who worship the wood. As well as that, you can find both wood elves and eladrin within the Toreth woods. So big part for them is that they kind of, they very much so use that like highway between the Fey realm and the prime material to move back and forth, and get that effect on their being of also 1 second. I just sent you a message after this for just something, not to talk past you, just something I wanted you to know. Yeah. So, yeah, the big differences would be those sorts of kind of times where the cultural distinctions between like living among the trees, and I suppose my newest D&D character is a drunk monk that only drinks milk. Thanks, I hate it.
What have we created? What have we helped create? I
just feel like we're facilitating bad habits.
Yeah, facilitating addiction. No, I think one of for me at least, something that I've always thought about is in regards to the history of both parts of the world, both eastern and western halves, and very similar, closely related to those sides of the world. Like in the case of the West, there is much more of I suppose from countries outside of it, a degree of reverence towards the wood and respect, at least at this stage. There hasn't really been too many people, like you haven't really had Riddleton clashing against people within the wood. You haven't quite had
that's a big difference.
And there's still very much the respect for it as the place that harbored humanity's resistance and the ascended gods during the 300-year war, where in the eastern half, there wasn't that. There was no ascended hiding and the artifact of ascension that came from within the wood. There was none of that. And then you saw, like in the one shot that we did quite a while back now, there was clashes between people from the eastern kingdoms and the woad folk on the eastern half. So it's a very different, probably much more of a, I suppose you could say, much more of a militant,
much more adversarial.
Yes, and which is why probably hobgoblins as well, which is they're still very much a militant race, and that's probably helped shape them, is the fact that they don't quite have that relationship in the same setup compared to everyone in the West.
Yeah, nail on the head. So she says, a fellow PC in my newest D&D game is a legless mermaid who wants to fly with the birdies. And yes, it's a land-based game. Who is a holier than thou noble. That just brings up so many questions. Legless as in no tail, or legless as in no legs?
Like very different.
But yeah, so one of the big things, even that one shot we did, that double tap, I can't remember if it was one shot or two part. I think it was just one shot.
I think
it was literally a war between, like the breakout of the war for hunting rights between the country of Zarsan, where Ojikir is the capital of, and the Toreth Woods, like the goblinoid and elvish tribes within there. They're far more like kind of hearkening it similar to like the Marabir. It would be very adversarial. You could like, example, the Piney from Yundav saw you were being hunted and wanted to help, like say, okay, you're like, I don't know what you've done. If you're heading to like our city, you need to get there quick because you're in danger. In the Toreth, they would probably team up with the Felon Dragon to help.
Yes.
If they see the wood is adversarial to anyone at all, they're jumping on and they're going, this is danger for us. You are danger for us. Yep. You are done. It's extremely dangerous. It's they care very little for humanity outside of the world.
Yes, they're very insular. Like you wouldn't have settlements like Yundav, trying to make trade relations and stuff like that. Like you wouldn't have Wellenia, and places like that in the Toreth Woods building or trying to build roads and such across.
No, they would not try and help, because they also see that as like kind of their woad purists. That's kind of like the woad itself moves around and shifts, so trying to build a road kind of goes against the woad in the first place. Even like, I know we call it a road when it's more like a loose pathway that's kind of guided by druidic magic, but that in its own right is considered like within the Toreth, within Wellenir, Pivil, and Villic, that it's kind of like that's a no-go. Well, Villic isn't really woad, but you know what I mean.
It's semi-wood. It's
It's like Lavoca for the Toreth.
Yes. So I think it's interesting to look at that aspect of it, in regards to their attitudes towards outsiders, in which their case they don't really have much in the way of relation. Like most of their relationships come from their connections to the western half, and I think we saw that in the first campaign, where there was a hobgoblin ambassador of sorts staying within the canopy. That's probably the main extent of the Toreth Woods' connection to the world outside.
Well, like, if we look at something like outside of Nagel, we, across 2 campaigns now, I've seen 2 Goblinkin NPC outside of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen, I believe it was a Mevela in Vrendenwell was Hobgoblin, maybe? I want to say. The guard captain?
Yes, you're right. Yeah,
and Nagel, 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Whereas we've seen a decent spattering of Raven folk, Satyr, Loxodon, Goliath, Leonin.
Pliny. We've still seen Pliny and Alistair outside of the world as well.
Yeah. No, we've never seen an Alistair outside of the world.
Haven't we? We've never seen...
No. Not... Maybe I'm blanking on something, but I can't name one.
I'm trying to think of one. And now that you've said it, I genuinely can't. I just thought we had.
Well, it's also a lot harder for an Alised, because, like, general society in the world is a bipedal society, not a quadruped society.
It's not set up for hooves. Oh, shit.
No, that's not the issue. Careful, Mercestial will be on you. Did I mention they have a magical item granting them flight that is peacock wings? Do peacocks fly? Can peacocks fly?
Let me just quickly go. Can peacocks fly? I genuinely don't know.
I thought peacocks couldn't fly.
They can fly short distances, and it cannot fly very high. Okay.
I was just like, like, so of all the ones I've seen.
Well, because I didn't think they were flightless birds, but yeah, they have limited flight.
Kind of like a chicken. Bro, imagine chicken wings.
Imagine if you saw it, Des. Okay, close your eyes. Imagine if you looked up at the sky and you saw a sort of a herd of chickens just flying in like a formation, like other birds, just like flying above you.
Bro, if I was in Oz, I could see some bin chickens flying in a formation.
Oh fuck! Too true there. Too soon.
Too true, too dangerous. Run.
Yeah, but imagine seeing chickens flying above you. I want that to be like you walk into the Feywild and you just look up and you see chickens flying above you. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck is this place? This ain't right.
No, bro, imagine this. You look up and you see water flowing upwards, but rather than on like the surface of the water, it'd be like below the surface, that there's swans like paddling with their feet like out of the water, just like, and that's what's sticking out above.
Cursed.
Like catching the wind.
Absolutely cursed.
The Feywild is just where you can make cursed shit like that.
I love it. Like, it can be so harmless, but it's just mind-boggling. Like, excuse me, nature.
It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't conform to like typical creation, like in a sense of like how it is approaching like sense of prime material. It's kind of like a lot of archways being like, this would look fucky. Snap.
Which is kind of interesting. Something I've always been interested at is like the relationship between the Feywild and the Woad, because obviously the Woad is separate to the Feywild, but it acts as a conduit for the Feywild.
It
Um,
also acts as a conduit for Osiris, Karsa
yeah,
Thor, Rabosa. Like it acts as a conduit for everything, but very few beings. I suppose the main difference is Archfays know how to access the pathways, and the
mhm,
pathways are normally guarded by fey creatures called Somber Weaves.
yeah. Oh, okay. I think that's the first time I've ever heard of a Sumbleweed.
Yeah, I'll get the art for Somber Weave. It's a monster
Somber
from.
Restweave. Yeah.
No, they're kind of spookier than that, may I? I'll have to boot up Roll20 for this because the art that you get when you just type it in is really poor quality. So I'll have to get the art from the handouts I have for you guys.
A bit sketchy.
It's not sketchy. It's just it's like your camera right now. It's just not good quality.
Hey, look, leave my dodgy camera filter alone. Ah, ads, rip.
Rip Boza. See if you look at the art section of our Discord, that should work. That's a Somber Weave.
Oh god, that's horrifying.
You met one in Quentin Journey. Remember, you found the archways. You found a pathway.
That's true, we did.
They're grey-skinned humanoids. Normally from the shadow, like the what you call it, the nighttime fae. They bridge the veils between it, and yeah, I kind of modified their stat block a lot for my own use of them. But they're basically beings like that are what guard the arches between, because you can't just walk through arches that will get you through to a different realm. Like you have to know the magic behind them, and the Somber Weaves guard them. So it's yeah, that thing is bloody horrifying. Yeah, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. It's but like that's why the Archfae specifically kind of are the ones to travel the most between the realms. Also because you're talking people like regents, they have like binding magic that's keeping them in Osiris. Yeah. Same with demons, whereas Archfaes, like, they lose some of their, like, kind of like a piney leaving the wood. If they leave the Feywild too long, if they leave Vitrizion for too long, they'll start to lose their power because they're connected to the Fey energy. So,
and I suppose for them it would be kind of familiar in that aspect, like going into the wood, it's not completely outside of what is familiar to them.
Yeah. So that's why we see them the most out of any being that's traversed the Feywild, is because it's oh god, I don't want to have reevaluation anymore. What's wrong with your reevaluation? I'm lost. I don't know what's happening.
I'm lost.
You will got ads and then rolled d20s, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, so the Archfaes are the ones that we commonly kind of see, but even then, like, most of them, like, they don't want to be there. Like, Revolution? Oh, Revolution.
No, but, you need to roll.
Revolt. No, you're not revolting. Get back in your box. But yeah, so like the Feywild, the Archfaes of Vitrizion, you know, they're the ones who kind of not control the Somber Weaves, but have formed the best relations with the weavers between realms.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, because I was wondering, like, the connection between Feywild and Wood.
It is the same. It's like the most commonly traveled.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I imagine for a lot of people looking at it, like, oh yeah, like magical forest is basically the Feywild, but it's not.
Yeah, the layman would think that 100%.
Yeah,
like those who study the wood would be able to discern the fine differences between them. But that being said, it's, you know, it affects the entire cosmology because every heart tree is connected. Now, some of them, like, you know, some of the heart trees are just straight up like rip bozoed.
Yeah, look, some of them have been entirely rip bozoed.
But you're talking like similar effect to like when the Lord of Decay came to like Zamani or whatever. He would pass through the pathways that connect through the wood. Like when he is manifesting as an actual apparition, like not just like his physical form there, able to interact. Like it's them moving through it. It's when we saw like they are intelligent. Lord of Decay, correct.
Thank you. First time and talking
First
about
time.
the best,
Absolutely,
one of the best regions. Thank you. One of the
best region. How are you today, Lindsay? If that's how I pronounce it. Lord of Decay is one of our archdevils that we're talking about. One of the groups, one of the player characters' patrons in our regular game. The Lord of Decay, one of the 7 arch. Thank you for the follow. Very cool of you. Very cool of you.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, if you're new here, we're talking. This is our homebrew setting of Quenthos. We're world building for. Yes. We have a big magical forest in the center of the world that kind of connects all the realms of our existence. Look, that is a lord I can get behind. You should. He is suave. He is handsome. He is very much so a devil you'll give your soul to with a smile.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. He'll take your soul with a handshake and both of you smiling, and you'll
feel good about it. You won't benefit as much as he does, but you'll feel good about it.
He is probably one of the most powerful regents of Osiris, which is our version of
it's our version of hell of what do they call it? What's the official 9 realms, 9 levels of hell, is it?
9 levels of hell? Yeah.
It has a name, I don't know what it's called. Avernus? That's one of them. I know that is.
Yeah, that is.
I know that from the module. Regardless, Osiris is one of ours. We have 9 realms. Very, very cool. Prime materials, all cool, but they're all planets. And there's a big fancy magic forest it's all sentient and connected to the one tree that spreads throughout all 9 realms. Very cool. Very, very cool. Like it a lot. But how are you, Lindsay? If you have questions about the shedding, please, the setting, please let us know.
Shedding.
The unnecessary H in there just for AJ.
Hades is a name for hell. It is.
Also, one of the best Disney villains. Can.
Look, absolutely can.
God, where were we? So the Toreth being kind of like the biggest sort of settlement, I would say, would probably be the Wood Elven home where Solelio is from.
Which is
I believe it's Pivel.
Is Pivel?
I believe so. I think so. I may be wrong. I'll double check. I thought it was. Unless someone can contradict me, I believe it is.
Let me just quickly boot up Solelio. It doesn't say.
Yeah.
Is that one isn't you?
Look, no, that's just me future-proofing myself.
So confirmed now, canon. Purel is the birthplace of Solelio.
I actually might have a message Kay when we talked about Braska's home. Cade may be the only one that could actually correct me, but he doesn't watch this. But will he allow me to collect the teeth of my enemies and peel the flesh from those that mocked me to torment them in front of the feeble-minded concept of the ones they love? Yeah, that's kind of on brand. He is the father of schemes, and that sounds like a scheme to me.
Yes.
That is his other title, the father of schemes.
And he would approve of you trying to break them mentally, first of all.
Yeah. It's all about that the long revenge in the Lord of Decay's mind.
Yes. The long revenge, the long plans.
Exactly.
The things that give you the most satisfaction at the end.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to stop looking for this information. I'm just going to commit to what I said.
It's canon. It's canon. People, birthplace of Solelio. Canon. Yo, can I join? Because I know how to torture people. Kyle, you've just outed yourself live on Twitch here.
Look,
I, I
that is like something that should never be taken out of context, but I love that out of context. I know how to torture people.
you look in context though. I'm still concerned for you, Kyle. I'm still concerned about you. Please leave me alone. I've done nothing wrong.
Vajuk, another $1. While Hades is a great villain and top tier, he is not the best villain that Disney has. That would be Percival C. McLeach from the Rescuers Down Under, which is another film from the same era as I've never seen it.
I've never seen that.
I've never even heard of it. What if you, instead of giving him my soul, I give him the promise of giving him another people's souls? Look, it's not a 1-to-1 exchange ratio, unfortunately. But yeah. I'm sure something could be worked out.
I'm sure you could cut a better deal for yourself, you know, if you're willing to give him other people's souls.
It wouldn't be so much quantity that the father schemes is after. He is a collector. He worries about the quality.
Yeah, you gather.
There's no need to be concerned, Raph. Heard it here first.
Okay, done. I will not be tortured. Thank you, Gar. Thank you.
But yeah, so I do believe Pivotal is the the goblinoids and what else, but it is the biggest
element. We're hard committing to it now.
Hard committing. If I contradicted myself in the past, that was past Des making the mistake. This is current Des correcting it. I definitely have it written somewhere, which is wild to me. But
yeah.
So that is like.
Sorry.
No, God.
I'll say. So what's like? Is it much smaller than Yundev, or is it just like a little bit smaller?
Yeah, it's a lot smaller. It doesn't care. Doesn't care for letting people in. Lindsay says, "Well, surely he'd not want my soul right away, since the more I'd slaughter, the better my soul would be to him eventually." Yeah, that's currently why one of his warlocks in our mainline campaign is yet to be claimed, because she is still working for him on the surface of the prime material. Look, if you can outweigh your own soul's worth by the end, maybe you can like lay away your soul. Totally not me planning to overthrow the demon god. Look, demons aren't pog. Devils are better. Change my mind.
Yeah, change my mind. Look, Abyss, cringe. Hell, much better. Much better.
Look, at least with the devil. Now, this may be a controversial opinion. There's a contract. There's no chaos to it. There's more chaotic leaning ones, but the overall vibe is that you kind of know the terms that you're agreeing to when you make them. If you remember your deal, so to speak. And that's part of the deal, that you lost your memory of the deal. You kind of, with the devil, you kind of know what you're getting into. With a demon, it's kind of just like, congratulations, you are now a flesh puppet doing a demon lord's bidding.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you have a demon is villain in Lavoca's game? Actually, the demon was kind of like the one backing the villain. So it was a banished fae who was empowered by a demon.
Yes.
It was kind of, if I ever wanted to do a season 2, Ravhalocerex, the purveyor of deceit, the Lord of Moths, would be the villain if I ever did a sequel to that.
What was the name of the Tarkin?
Tarkin the Desiccated.
I was trying to remember it for a second.
Tarkin the Desiccated.
Tarkin the Desiccated. Like coconut.
Bro, never Tarkin the Defecated then. Never.
Tarkin the Decaffeinated. That would
look, that's me when I wake up first thing in the morning.
Me going crazy.
It's fun because I'm currently drawing a demonic looking character. I'm a shill here for a second, Lindsay. We have an art category in our Discord server. We'd love to see it if you'd hop on into the Discord.
Yeah.
Be happy to have you.
Like, no joke. We actually really enjoy seeing art that people come up with, and
we love seeing art. A lot of people share the art in our Discord server, and it's pretty cool. It's growing.
Yeah.
Join it if you so wish. I'd love to see what you're working on.
Is Tarkin
dead or just
he's
banished?
I think he went to Ravhalocerex.
He did. He went back. So he was basically, in the end, as close to a demon as a fae has ever gotten. So his death would have sent his death would send him back. Basically, in our setting, archfaes can only be killed in the Feywild. Archdevils can only be killed in a series. Demons can only be killed in Zarkor Ved. Like, you have to kill them in their native plane of existence because it's more akin to banishing them upon killing them then. Which is a frustrating thing for some people. Got to go midterms to do. Good luck in the midterms, Kyle. I hope you're going there completely sober, not on Wilk.
Good luck with them. Hope you go well.
Good luck. Good luck. Very much so. Good luck. Yeah, Tarkin is with will be for not so long with the Purveyor of Deceit. Not 21 yet. Oh, you're in America.
Ah, right. I keep forgetting that is a rule there.
Yeah, it's wild. So yeah, that's like the big thing is Tarkin. Like, God, this is off track. So Tarkin was a being that tried to destroy a big part of the Feywild because he was banished from the world because he was banished from the land of Fey's Vitrizion in our setting, and he wanted to get back in. So basically, he was using. Because the banishment magic kind of works throughout the pathways along with the so he's basically cut off from entering the Vitrizion gateways. He was able to make his way to the Zarkor Ved gateways and make a deal with Rapalacerix, make his way back through, and it's post it. Let's peep this shit. Let's peep this. Ooh!
Actually, it looks really.
That's really cool. I can't wait to see it.
Like that.
High elf that did magic ritual turned into a half spider dampier.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love like the spider legs. I don't know if there's anything about. I love like the spider legs like arcing over like helping you cast the spell. That's such a cool effect. I love that. You got to post the final one when it's done. That's sick. Absolutely.
That's some great work.
That is. Yeah.
Do you have any other pieces you want to share with the class? Some finished works, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some of your finished works.
That's really fucking cool.
Any other cool characters you wanna share with the party? So I was saying Tarkin. Yeah, I would love to see Tarkin come back as a villain for someone else. Perhaps not the Vethalier Vanguard. Although I feel like perhaps it's a disservice if Tarkin comes back and isn't dealt with by the Vanguard. Or their descendants.
Yeah, however, I feel like if Tarkin comes back, it's going to be like a reoccurring villain, like a Scooby-Doo villain, like, Tarkin again.
See, that's the thing, it could only be one more back, and he would have to be, like, demoned to fuck. Like, literally, like, instead of his own, like desiccated things, like, he's got these, like, desiccated moth wings that are, like, just falling. I'm a professional VTube designer. Hey, that's really cool. Yeah, I know a couple of VTubers. It's very cool. Very, very cool.
Huh.
Yeah, post any of your work in the art chat. We'd love to. I just love art. I'm the big fond of art.
The big fond.
Yeah, if I was to do Tarkin as an enemy though, it would be very much so more. Wow, that's amazing. That's really good.
Ooh, damn. Okay, that is fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a few of the around the start.
We do. We actually still raise them upon times when they're on at the same time as us. They play D&D sometimes. That's some sick work though. That's really cool. Hey, your shit's good. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing it with us.
I am looking forward to seeing the finished piece of that the high elf up piece.
Oh, that was dark. Thank you. Do you want to just drop your, like, I don't know if many people be in the server looking for it, but if you want to you can always just drop your Twitter in the self promo in our server if you want, and it's there if you want it. Feel free. That's
Ooh.
Hey, Shaz. Cool. But yeah, if I was to do Tarkin, it would be one more time. That is it. It couldn't be, like, I couldn't have him. That's your VTuber. Ooh.
Oh,
that's really cool. I love the Batwings. I love the connections.
Yeah.
A demon who is forced to be a magical girl. Hey, what a backstory.
That's cool.
Do you stream on this account? The Lindsay? 1 second. Let's peep your account.
Live on stream.
Hey. I won't dox it live on stream. I'm just peeping it for my own curiosity.
Yeah,
Drop
yeah.
a follow.
Save that curiosity.
Yeah, drop a follow. Yeah, no, really cool. That's really, really cool. Yeah, whenever you're streaming, feel free to use our self promos. I don't know what times. So you're kind of, I don't know what time zone you're in. Welcome, I'm Zara, but for we should call me Lindsay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, spread the love. Spread the love. Panic, yes, quick. People are drawing attention to you. Roll for stealth. Exclamation point D20. No, you should be proud. Like, that's cool. Like, growing on Twitch is super hard, and that's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's a really awesome thing to do.
Yeah, that art's sick though. You did it yourself. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting distracted.
Getting very off topic. But
getting very off topic.
Part of the course. That is part
of the course. Lindsay, this is the brand. We get distracted. We world build. We get a lot of stuff done off stream as well. But
we world build.
We world build. You can tell by the title. It's we don't really know how to do it that well.
90% of our world building will happen off stream. These ones here will start to do it.
Bruh, you're being generous. 95%.
Look, the 5% that happens on streams is often like a clear half an hour where we actually get focused, write quite a bit, and then just like hands off, procrastinate for the rest of our session.
Based, yeah, absolutely based. We kind of, yeah, my elf spider hungers for anything a spider eats, like bugs and small birds. One of the spiders in our group said they wanted to play as a big moth person, and me and the DM just smirked at each other. Look, that's just a big snack.
Yeah. As just the snack will last you a while.
Okay. Look, lizard folk would eat the entire party, so you're already like 80% better, probably.
Yeah.
But yes, as I was saying, Tarkin could do it as a villain one more time. No, look, Lindsay, if you didn't do it, we would. This is just exactly. Like, this is kind of our thing.
Yeah, we are looking for things to derail us. Like, please, derail us. It's half of the fun.
Hey. So yeah,
but yeah,
I could use it one more time, but it would probably be far more like as a lieutenant. He wouldn't be the BBEG.
No, because also the Vethler Vanguard, if they were the ones facing him, would be so much higher level at that point.
Yeah, it would be a lieutenant, but it would be Ropelos Erix, the Purveyor of Deceit, the Lord of Moths, who would really be the one that's kind of, you know, going to be the BBG if I did that time. It would be Tarkin as a general, probably like a lieutenant. You know, it'd be very much so story focused on the Demon Lord rather than the Archfey. I'm working on my own homebrew world and made an entire secondary magic system based. Give us the elevator pitch of the magic system, because I've toyed with ideas, but it's just. I'm also toying with the idea of abandoning 5th edition, so I don't want to make any hard decisions right now.
Yeah, but let us know if that's actually really interesting. Yeah. Reading it for a game.
Very curious to see it. Perfect.
But yeah, so just to go back to the Toreth a little bit. The Toreth Woods.
Hey, you know what's wild? I'm messaging one of the VTubers I know. I was talking about your stuff, Lindsay, and apparently one of the first people you drew is one of their friends.
Oh shit!
Fucking VTubing community is not as big as it seems.
God damn it!
Yeah, I told her to peep our stream server, and she was snooping the art.
Like, okay, that's very familiar.
No,
Look,
that's
small world.
super cool. Small world. But yeah, so
Speaking of a small world, Toreth Woods.
Toreth Woods.
It's
This
quite a
is just
large
zoned.
area.
It is quite a large area. It's like it's got a decent chunk of landmass. Would you believe?
Hmm. Well, really, there are only real two major settlements in the Toreth Woods, which is Pibble and Willownair.
Yeah. There's two on
Because
each side.
yeah, well, considering it's a lot more traditional, though, I imagine that it's a lot more spread out from the like Yundav is quite a major hub for the word, whereas on the other side, I imagine they don't really. Pibble, whilst it's large, probably isn't really a hub for everyone. It's
I
probably a lot
suppose the
more.
difference is Yundav is a hub for a lot of people in Vethalier and people who want to study druidic magic. Pibble is
Mhm.
a hub for people on a pilgrimage to the Heart Tree. It's the closest thing to it.
Yes,
So
yes,
if you're trying to get to the Heart Tree, I'd say the Shadat, the order that we kind of made, the monk order, would have a heavy presence here among the scouts in the hobgoblins.
yes.
I'd say a
Well,
lot
that's
of
the thing.
the
The
Shadat would
blades
come
of the
from Pavel.
heart. Yeah, the blades of the heart. The Shaddad is just the one figure at a time. But yeah, the blades of the heart.
So let's catch up. Chat's kind of popping off.
Oh,
80% of
hello.
humanoids are born with an elemental symbol on one of their eyelids, which is a mark of the elemental gods that gives them magic based off that element. Love it. Absolutely
Oh,
love it.
that's really cool.
Because you
And
said
I have
if
other
all the trees
gods.
on each world are connected, does one growing bigger, or shrinking affect the others? No, because it's just spreading further. It's just like different branches of a tree. Um,
The only thing that really would affect them is if one gets cut down or is destroyed in however it is.
yeah.
Because then it
Well,
means there is no connection to that plane through the heart tree anymore. But changing in size and whatever level of corruption won't really affect their relationship to one another.
so, and then I've godlike beasts above the elemental gods that people have a super slim chance to have the mark of them at birth. That's very cool. And that's the
Yeah,
T. That is the T.
that's a
Are any
really
trees
interesting.
destroyed?
Yeah.
I believe they have been. Which just cuts that realm off from
Uh,
the plane of travel. I think one has been, or two have been.
I think the only one was these Berserker Reds.
Well, there's also used to be 13 realms, remember?
That is, well, yeah, I mean, of the realms known to people,
Yeah, I suppose of the
of the
nine
known,
realms known, I think
I
Zarkorvads
think,
is destroyed. And Rabosa, not
yes.
Rabosa, Principal
No.
was kind of corrupted and taken over.
Yeah, yeah. Look, principle is principle.
Um,
Um,
Principal, yeah, above all. Yeah, I think the heart tree of Zarkorvad is the only one that's actually
like a few have been corrupted, but not actually destroyed.
wait, you have four unknown realms? No. I have four eaten realms by the Void Dragon. The way that magic works is that after each long rest, you roll a d6, 4, 5, 6, go back to 1, 2, 3. That's how many spells you can cast from the elemental spell is before taking another long rest. The catch is that each spell can only be cast once per long rest, with the exception of cantrips, and that's how it functions. Try to make it as simple as possible. That's cool. That's a
That's
cool
really
little
cool.
boon. It's like, yeah, I love shit to do with the elements. It's very cool. That's very interesting. That's a very, very interesting way to approach it. Does that stack with magic classes, or is that instead of magic classes? Is
Yeah.
my question. But where were we on the chart? So Heart Tree,
Yes.
Toreth,
Talking
it
about
stacks. Very cool.
talking about yeah. Talking about like in terms of Pivotal and places like that, in terms of the fact that it's a hub for people traveling to the Heart Tree.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is really, but then I imagine it's like obviously the Heart Tree doesn't have and it's like such an established route of pilgrimage yet. Like it doesn't
no,
quite have.
I don't think there ever will be, because that's half the point. Is the world will try and turn you around. But I think a big part of it is like if we think the defenses and like the beasts of prey are dangerous around Yundav, that pales, and I think Pivel and the Tarth as a whole is a far more dangerous part of the world. Because the closer you get to the heart tree, the thicker the defenses. Because if you think of like
Yes.
everything started at the heart tree and sprouted from there and started spreading, then it's
Yeah.
it's like the origin. It'd be like the oldest trees, the tallest trees. Like we said, there was a
And
900-foot one in Yundav. I'd say the heart
yeah.
tree probably stands much taller. than everything.
And at least in the case of Yundev, like they make efforts to help people lost in the wood. They make an effort to try and, you know, control it a little bit, and like for people trying to travel through and such.
Yeah,
Where
if you
outside
get
the
lost in the
wood,
Toreth, you're probably going to be murdered.
yeah, like
Like,
they don't give a fuck if you're an outsider to the wood, and if you're not don't have a positive relationship with the wood, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, cool. If you die, you die, and it's part of the wood's will. We don't really
yeah, it's
care.
just you're being recycled for nature.
Yeah, very, and also very much the attitude of like you're not one of us. You're not
Yeah,
part of the
it's
wood.
scorns outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like, it's probably why we haven't played in there yet, is because it would just be a super difficult thing to have you guys play in.
Unless there was someone in the party that has a very strong relationship to the wood, which
True.
this current party doesn't have.
No.
Um,
Um, it's it's entirely possible that you guys could go
mm,
to the Tarth, and I'd say a lot of people who enter the Tarth find themselves turned around and right back at the exit, like
yes,
walking through a path and they're back out the tree line. They think they're coming to a clearing. No, you're just out in the edge of the woods again.
and you know
Like,
if they keep pressing on after that, it's like, well, we tried to warn you.
yeah, then you kind of get deeper, and then I'd say the hobgoblins or the wood elves or the eladrin would follow you, would watch you, and
Mm-hmm,
then they would like interpret
mm-hmm,
the woad's relation to you, because in our system there's an actual scoring method to determine character's relation with the woad. Like it's an active
mm-hmm,
modifier, as it has a blood sense. So people, whenever they enter the woad, offer a drop of blood from their hand or something
mm-hmm.
to let the woad know their entrance, to try and like, the respectful way to enter. And I'd say there'd be probably a lot of ritualistic sacrificial killings by these wood elves, especially after the
Yes,
300 year with the giants. It's like they want to defend their home. Also, you're
I was,
talking,
yeah, I was gonna say, I think comparing and contrasting the like goblinoid races to the elven races within the Toreth woods, it would be that. Like you would very much have the elven races probably being a bit more ritualistic and sort of relying more on like druids and stuff to carry out sacrifices to the woad, much more of a religious um connection to the woad itself, much more of a reverence like that. Whereas the
yeah,
goblinoids probably more tribal and just, like living with the wood, as opposed to worshipping it and having that type of relationship. At least that's the way I've kind of seen it in my mind a little bit. Um,
wait, hold up. Not saying there is, but if there's a survivor of the Eastern realms, would they be unkillable because they can't be killed? They can't be killed in their home realm. The Eaton realms, you mean? No, they wouldn't have a realm to return to.
but
Um,
technically, we do know Eaton people from an Eaton realm.
yeah, we know the old gods are. They used to have a planet, their own planet,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gone. Um, but yeah, like those realms were like seriously powerful places, like where gods were just
Mm-hmm.
like the old gods came from, these eldritch gods, and they kind of just, not that they're immortal, they're just extremely difficult to kill.
Yeah, unless you're
But
another old god. No,
unless you're
and even
another
then,
old
it's still
god.
difficult. Unless you, I mean, even that's still, it's still difficult, just possible. Um,
uh, I think you're in more trouble worrying about if you have to fight them first rather than thinking about even doing it a second time. But yeah, so the
yeah.
elves would be far more like paying reverence. The goblins would be shamanistic. But the
Mm,
bugbears and hobgoblins would be the more militaristic side, trying to deal with that. I suppose the main difference would be that the elvish society, specifically like Pivel and all, would be much more prone to like you could probably get into Wellenere if you're an outsider.
mhm.
Probably. If you're an outsider trying to get to Pivel without extremely good relationships with the world, you will probably be made a sacrifice to the heart tree.
Yes. See,
Like,
I find it really interesting with elves in Corinthian setting. They all have their own certain fixation and obsession that sort of connects them in that
I
sense.
think
Like
it's
whether
part
it's
of
the wood
why
elves
they're.
with the
It's something that we see
yeah.
because they're such a long-lived race. Like
Yes,
they need
they
to
all
find
have that
meaning in
divine.
something.
Yeah, which for like Pallid elves, it's their prophecies and their divination they put all of their faith into, all of their focus into. The woe for the wood elves, the dying gods, the starless. Like there is that equivalent for
The
all of them.
Morrowind for the
That
Morrowind
just
elves, very
the
similar.
Morabi. Yeah.
Um, and River elves are kind of weird in Amsera, which we've never actually gotten to. We should expand on that someday.
I'm really curious. Yeah, and like for the Pallid elves, it's the Eye of Ruin, obviously, being
For the
like that
Shadowfey.
focal point for the Shadowface. Sorry, the Shadowface.
Yeah, all of you're right. They all like that's one thing about elves is they like normally culturally they will have a point of obsession, um,
Yes.
like something that they kind of see like a reason why they're living so long, something to work towards. Like it's part of like them being a long-lived race in our setting is kind of like they have a fixation normally because their
Mm-hmm.
culture is so long-lived and like pay such reverence to these things and kind of with all of them they pay reverence to things that are older than them, the woad,
Mm-hmm.
the the dying god, the eye
Yeah.
of ruin, like these things that are like we have lived centuries and known many knowledges but you are much beyond ours. Like
Yes.
they pay reverence to things that they think they can learn from because they can learn most mundane shit in 700 years if they really set their mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what you make of the learning.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so yeah, it's just interesting looking at that because you don't quite have that darker side on the with the Vethalia. Like it's dark, it's dangerous, but you don't have the inhabitants being quite so twisted as well.
Yeah, well, twisted is. I resent that.
I
It's
mean,
not
look,
wrong. I just
wandering into
resent it.
okay, look, I'll take that. I'll take that. Um,
No, it's definitely like I
well, I mean,
suppose
look,
like
wandering
people
into
as a
people, like
area.
I was gonna say, imagine just like you wander into the woods, you're like just wanting to explore, but you're not getting incredibly lost. You wander around, you wander into people. There's a group of elves there being like, "Yep, and our next sacrifice, dragon, take him."
Well, look, it's if you had good relations with the Woad, people wouldn't. They'd be like, this person has been accepted by the Woad. We may not accept them into our city, but they until they get further standings. Like I think you would need to be like we talk on like a scale of like 1 to 30, being like 30 and above is like hero of the Woad. You'd need to be like close to 20 to get access to Pivel.
Yeah, yeah, and otherwise just avoid it. You're probably safer getting lost in the wood than wandering into people.
Yeah, pretty much
Um,
because like it's kind of like especially
try
since
and
the 300-year war with the giants, they're kind of like it was one of few places that was like an area that was kept pretty safe and secret by the Woad. So it's like Silelia's home, like technically she's from like outside Pivotal, like that she did her family's home did get found by giants. Um, like that kind of area is pretty like it fought giants a few times. I
mm,
can't say it never got discovered, but it's pretty safe, and they're just especially after the 300-year war with like war knocking on their door and things getting so close to the heart tree. Like I think that was probably a big fear of a lot of wood elves during the 300-year war with the giants is what
mm,
happens if the giants find the heart tree. What do the giants
yes,
do to the heart tree? Will the giants
yes,
destroy the heart tree? Like
yeah,
can the giants
yeah.
destroy the heart tree? You know.
Well, that was one of the fears that led, in terms of a organization of the world, the Blades of the Heart, from which the
Yeah.
Shadart comes from. And that tradition was very much it was founded by when a group of Jotun were coming through and giants were coming through the road. Um, and essentially, like the fear of like, well, they're heading in the direction of the heart tree. If they stumble across it, what could they do?
Mm.
And then so obviously you have a group of very militant hobgoblins that rise up to defend it, defend the heart tree. Because I think that is probably a very valid fear amongst many of the inhabitants
Well,
in the
like think
Toreth
about it.
Woods. Is,
Humanity, like the survivors, the ones that weren't subjugated by the Jotuns, all hid in the Woad. The Woad protected
yes.
humanity as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
The giants very well could go, well, this is where you're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Let's lift the wood and see what you're under. Like what's hiding
See,
underneath
I'm
this.
I'm really curious. Are there like would there still be small sort of enclaves of humans, like of like actual humans that live in the world that like descendants of the people that fled there?
Yeah,
from the giants and have decided to stay there in the Woad. And you
yeah.
essentially have like Woad humans, like a
I say a
sub
lot
race
of them are
almost.
like half piney, half elf now. Like a
Okay,
lot of them like
yeah.
intermingled because like you're talking that's like 400 years ago, and a human that's a lot of generations. You know,
Hmm.
that's when they start hiding. So like you're talking, yeah. I'd say there's still a few humans, like small human settlements, but I'd say there's very few pure human settlements. I think you could find
Yes.
any individual race of Quentos in the world, but it's not a large enough demographic that uh you know could be
Yeah.
found.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it could be a cool in like background for a character actually.
Physics says half piney question mark. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really come to
We haven't
like
thought
set
that
anything
far.
up. Um,
It's cool actually. We did have an interesting discussion the other night about a
Tiefling.
descendancy, like yeah, how Tiefling and Aasimar and descendancies work,
Yeah,
and
like I do know that like Tiefling is something that's passed down. Asimar isn't something that's always passed down. Asimar would always supersede a Tiefling, if it was blessed. It's yeah. As for the genealogy, maybe a Piney could. Like
mm,
they're of similar build and composition. Maybe, no, probably not. I would say because they when they die, they grow into trees. But yeah, that would require more thinking than me making a just quick decision now. Um, Half elf
yeah,
though, yeah, definitely.
oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
Bro, what if well no, because you could make this really cool thing where a piney is basically um, like like piney could be the Asimar of the Woad, very similar. Wait, an
Yeah,
Asimar precedes Tiefling, supersedes. So like, if example a Tiefling and an elf, or a Tiefling and a human had a child, there's probably I'd say in my setting about 75% chance that that child is a Tiefling. But there's also if a old god decided to bless it, there's 100% chance that child is an Asimar, not a Tiefling. You can't be Tiefling Asimar or Asimar Tiefling. It's they're both considered like blessings from different sources of magic in the lineage.
yeah, yeah. I quite like the idea though of the Woad having something equivalent to Aasimar in that sense. I don't think Pliny
No,
exactly
definitely
should
a
be, but
piney.
they
There's
could
far
be.
too many.
Yeah, but they. I think it'd be cool to have some sort of
Oh, there definitely is. It's
equivalent.
something I've thought about before, but it's just I don't know how I would work it in my mind. Also, I'm kind of on a pause of making any new sub races for fifth
Yeah,
edition.
yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. Like I mentioned, they probably wouldn't travel outside the Woad. They'd be very much like you're a child of the Woad. You stay in the Woad to protect it. Like that is your duty. I could even see very much like the people who tend to the heart tree are the sort of like Woad Asimar type people, like the chosen of the Woad, and they're the ones that tend to us and sort of care to it. Um, and have very much like a calling. Um,
I need to re-educate myself in your Asmar lore. If you have questions, just shoot them. I
yeah,
can
yeah,
answer
yeah.
questions. I don't know if there's super deep Asimar lore on the World Anvil, because it's kind of just a blessing by one of the gods. Also, I just don't know how many people would really like to see my deep thoughts on breakdown of genealogy on the world. I think it would bore a lot of people.
I mean, look, I would find that fascinating, but
But no, it's something I've thought about. Also,
mm,
Asmar the Road. I'll talk about this very little because there's probably more than I'm willing to say right now in the works. Um, Asimar are all blessed by the old gods? No.
mm,
Not all Asimar are of the old gods. Some some are of the ascended gods. There can be either.
I'll say there'd
Um,
probably be more so of the ascended gods, at least
yeah, there's
like
more of the ascended gods now.
because they actually have a direct lineages. Like they actually had like Celelio has a daughter, Celelio had children. They actually have direct lineages
Which
in the
brings up
world.
such a good question. Who the hell did Celelio have children with?
That's something I've been curious about for a long time now. Is like who, who's like we know Celelio's father. We know Celelio's father, and there's that connection there with the journal and everything. But who is Celelio's partner?
Bruh, imagine this. The partner was the one who tried to steal the father's memoirs and was immolated. They
That
wanted
would be
godhood so
fascinating.
bad that they tried to work with
Well,
Sirach.
do you actually like?
Oh, I
You do
know.
know who
I do know. I des know. I'm just
is
fucking
it?
with you.
Is it a major spoiler?
Um, it's something I imagine will come up
Okay,
for
yeah,
Mercastiel's story.
okay. Like, will it be like an oh shit type of thing? Like, damn, revelation, or be like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting, or would it be
Um,
like who is that person?
I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay, okay, okay.
Are
In
the
that
Ascendants
case,
God's siblings and direct descendants Asimar? No, not all of their descendants would be automatically Asimar.
yeah.
But they could bless certain, like they could also bless people who aren't their own descendants with, of their worshippers to have an Asimar child. Their siblings, nope.
Mhm.
And even like Silelio's daughter, for example, is not an Asimar.
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
I imagine
I
for
will preface
them,
this. Silelio had
mm,
one child.
yes.
She only ever had a daughter, and it was a struggle to conceive that daughter.
Hmm.
Um, but no,
She's still
so
alive, isn't she? Solai's daughter?
bro, unless she got the same treatment that happened to Harden,
Who the fuck knows?
who the fuck knows? Again, I imagine the party's eventually gonna have to go to Castelia for
Look,
Merca and find this shit out.
look, McCastiel certainly doesn't, you know?
No, I've sent people
Um,
information on like stuff before. I think there's like spatterings of information of like Silelio's daughter out there. I want to
hmm.
say. Um,
There are bits and pieces. We know that
God,
there
I
was
think did
something.
I ever give you the Castelia doc?
Uh, which part of it?
Not the Celia doc. I mean the the Castelia notes.
Yes, because I needed that for when I wrote up the whole thing on Casellia.
Yeah. So yeah, you know her daughter's name is Inalar.
Yes, yes.
Um.
Um,
Yeah. After that, in fact, I think even if you look on the you could probably figure out some of the questions you've already asked by scrubbing the world anvil. I think. I
yeah,
think.
I
Um,
think, and well, look,
I'll
we
have to.
also know that there was something that happened in her daughter's life that caused her to be in immense danger or harm, and thus she had to make the deal in order to save her life. Um, so we know that there was something with that. We
Yeah.
know that her daughter had some sort of danger, or was in some
In
sort of
fact,
danger.
actually, I would say you know that Solelia's daughter. If you scrub the world anvil, you know Solelia's daughter is not the leader of her church.
Yes, I do know that. I remember that. Um,
Yeah, that's Tamon Glesk.
is he still? Are they still
I
the?
don't think they are. I'll have to check.
Yeah.
God, that.
Look, I deliberately left the Casellia document, like in terms of naming who the heads are. I left that vacant. So I'm like,
Maybe
I'm
they
not
are. I'd
touching
have
that.
to go back and double check my notes, check their age, check how long has passed, check a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff. Um, I would say probably not. They probably got the same treatment as Harden. Like, there's a big problem right now that Merc is literally the only like main priest left of the Morning Sun. Like, the Morning
Yes.
Sun will live or die with Merc Estiel.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, which is a big. It is a big thing to take on board for Merc. Like,
yeah, it's a massive thing.
She is the last hope of humanity's hope.
Yeah, you know, what can you do? Um,
Hmm.
Sometimes there's prophecies about you, and you can try and take control of those prophecies, but sometimes
Hmm.
it's too late. Sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it's just not
Well,
an option.
it's actually a really interesting part of the Morning Sun as well. Like the Church of the Morning Sun is the whole little caveat at the bottom of the word anvil, if you look there, which is how they keep a direct line of communication open with the Jotuns in an attempt to have like a diplomatic channel by which they can prevent another war from occurring. If there is no Church of
That
the
is
Morning Sun,
gone.
which is why it's probably important for Mercastiel to take that, because otherwise there's probably zero connection to the Jotuns and up to the Shatters. Um,
Man, the things you
so
can get from reading the World Anvil,
look, players would never. Um,
players would never.
but that's really interesting actually. I will say in the past, I've been so fixated on the whole Phoenix section of the Slurly articles. I mean, like, when's Merc gonna realize this? When's AJ gonna realize this?
What,
Um,
41 sessions it took or something?
41 sessions in, and I was just there like, gotta stay in character.
I think you messaged me that
Um,
like session 4 or 5.
yeah, I'm like, hey Des, I was reading this. I have a theory, and you're like, good
I was
job.
like, very interesting.
Um,
Good theory. And then
yeah.
the game show was like, yes, this is the reality.
Look, one of the great pleasures in my life is having like wild theories about certain plots and character and event stuff in Dez's worlds, and just seeing how accurate they are. I love throwing out these wild guesses and these wild
Look,
theories.
it is so satisfactory for you when you get a wild guess correct. Because
Look,
like for every
the
one you've
guiding
gotten
light.
correct, there's like 5, 6, 7 that are wrong. Like,
But look, the guiding light, to this day, I do not
look,
know
that's the one that I'm
how.
most impressed by. Because like you started on that, like you picked up every breadcrumb. You're like, oh yes, give me that knowledge.
But also, I was going off just 100% hoping that I was guessing right as well. Like, my
Yeah,
guesses
you
were,
hard committed.
I was throwing wild punches out there, being like, cool.
See, I think there's a part of the time, like,
sure.
because obviously when I first decided to like make the Dying God and this side of the world thing, God, we're so off topic, but fuck it. Like made a thing. I was like, look, this is like the Dying God in my mind. It is the guiding light. And when you started, I'm new here. What W? Look, what W indeed.
Hey.
Clueless Forum. How are you keeping? We're severely off track of the topic of what we're meant to be talking about. We're talking about the divinity and kind of like theories that have been correct. This is our homebrew setting of Quenthos. It's got old gods, ascended gods. It's what kind of world building are you doing today? We're meant to be working on an enchanted forest that connects all 9 realms of our settings, but I'm currently talking about how we're off this lovely face over to my stage right. To stage right. Wait, stage right. Raph, you're familiar with the theatre. Is this stage right? Stage right? Is stage right from the viewer's perspective or my perspective?
It's from your perspective.
So stage left.
Yes. It's
Look,
like when you're looking towards the audience, which way you are looking.
So yeah, for me, it's no, because if I point left, it's also over here. So unfortunately, things are flipped. It's all fucked. Look, because we're happy to have you here. We're talking about an enchanted forest. We're getting distracted. I'm currently going through Raf's crackpot theory of their character for our mainline campaign on Mondays. He plays a character who's associated with a being called the Dying God, one of the old gods of our setting, one of many, and their true name is the Guiding Light, which Raf found out relatively recently in character in the past, I think, 10 sessions. And I'm talking through the process of Raf picking up the breadcrumbs that happened along the way, and kind of what my thought process throughout it was. We'll get back to the Enchanted Forest. It's very cool. It's called the Woad, this half being called the Toreth Woods. It's home to wood elves, hobgoblins, goblins, and bugbears. And the Heart Tree, which basically the entire forest is one tree, and all the other trees in the forest are just like branches of it. And if you want to take down the entire forest, you have to kill the Heart Tree. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. But yeah, as I was saying, you came to me very early on and you're like, it's the Guiding Light. I was in the conversation, I was like, if it isn't though, really, is it? I'm like, that's an interesting theory, but it could be like so many. And I was like, I did some very, very good times to like debunk your own logic by being like, by the same logic you've said, it could also be this, or this. Like,
yeah, and then I feel like I also had like a counter to that, like probably pretty wild still, but also there was.
The counters you had were completely off, like just 100%. Of like what was reality for those gods, obviously, because they weren't. But literally, there's a part of me that sat down after that first conversation that goes, "Fuck, do I change it?" I'm like, do I even have it be the guy? Like, do I make it something completely new? And then I'm like, it's kind of like I've seen Matt Mercer talk about it. I've seen George R. R. Martin talk about it, where it's like, you set down these teasers and breadcrumbs in the hopes that people are astute enough to get it correct, to pick up on all these clues and get it. But it's like, if they get it too early, do you change it, or do you keep it as is? And I was like, there was a big party for a while. It's like, do I just change it to a being that's never been named before? And I was like, No, but I was like, it became because like me and Raph talk so much outside of the stream. Like we have the world building, of course, and we have other stuff. And I was like Raph is a player at the table, but also he helps write some stuff. So, but he doesn't know everything. He knows like prompts that I ask him to do, and a decent bit of like the general knowledge. And I was just sitting here like, he got it. Like he's picked up on stuff before. Never anything as quick as that. Like,
and never anything as wild and as like just absolutely just like baseless jumping.
well, like the first time you said it to me, you pulled it from like something that I said like 2 years ago, like before Quintus existed.
Yes,
it's like a foot line in the fact that the line in the guiding light's old text from the old side of the world said the guiding light has never stepped foot on Durapiton, the name of the other side of the realm. That was it.
And that was the technicality. And then I also coupled that with like a previous character of mine from a non-streamed campaign a few years back. I was like, hang on, that character there, they had like this weird connection to the guiding light, but it was like a very faint connection.
Yeah, Esmeralda
was there. And it was like and it was the way that you're putting it is like it's almost like they're not here. Like they're not
because like I had like this is a scam for like the guiding light was a scam 4 years in the making that I was gonna have like this massive reveal, like for everybody. And I got like 2 years into it. I think I got like 2 years before Raph cracked. Like, look, it was like just impressed. Like, honestly, I don't care that it was foiled because also like I never answered it. I was like, no, I'm not telling you yes or no. I made fun of you so much, like, but like you literally jumped up from your chair when it happened. You were like, "Fucking let's go!"
Like Des, you motherfucker.
How did the rest of the party take the spoiler? Well, they didn't know it was a spoiler because I never confirmed it, so it was just Raph's crackpot theory for a while, and for a long while.
Also, I don't really think they really understood what the guiding light was, so it was just me there being like, I know this one thing.
It's some deep lore that like they would have gotten the name. That's it. Like he would have had to be paying serious attention. Also, let's catch up. Can an additional world tree? I assume you mean heart tree, so I'm going to answer it as if that on the same world as the old one. No, there can only ever be one heart tree.
When the universe was first created, they were like the foundation of each plane, of each world.
They were the glue between all 9 realms.
Yeah.
Well, all 13 realms.
We won't talk about the other ones.
Look, we don't talk about the other ones. But no, it's getting back to the Toreth after me explain that. But yeah, I suppose. God, well, I don't even remember what we were on. But that's kind of my explanation of why I didn't change it anyway. Like, I let it stay the same answer. Because I think you as a player, it was probably, like, one of the best feelings.
Yes.
Being 100%. Correct.
Yeah, like, creating such a wild connection between completely random clues and completely unconnected clues, tying them all together somehow, and being right with it, felt amazing.
Yeah, look, it was earned. Like, above all else, the answer was earned, which is cool. You still have so many more theories of what's happening because you literally have a name now. You don't know any, like, history to it. So it'll be cool. It'll be very cool.
Yeah, I'm still looking forward to getting into more of that.
Yeah, so much. So much so.
Yes, Toreth.
So where were we? We were talking about the wood, the wood elves kind of sacrificially, ritualistically kill people and make them offerings to the heart tree to whatever reason of their own. Like they're very deep in blood magic is probably a big thing. I'd say a lot of like we haven't seen much, if any, blood magic on.
I think
we've seen the Circle of Blood Druid Circle in Undav. We have seen that.
Yes, we have seen that. No. Do they have a Circle of Blood in Undav?
I thought they did. Maybe I'm wrong. Can a paragon of being set up a new realm and a heart tree? One. I mean,
the Divine Observer.
The Divine Observer is the one who made all the realms. So yes, technically. Yeah. So yeah, there's actually Delonix is a piney in Undav that is the Archdruid of the Circle of Blood. He makes sacrifices under the moons to appease the wood's uncaring nature. She has a redwood bark skin with sanguine red hair. Her eyes are sharp green.
But I imagine like blood magic in itself is very much rooted in Pivot.
Like Pivot, it's like the blood magic capital.
Yeah. Especially for the more druidic side. Like imagine for wizards and stuff like that, it's probably a bit different.
Or
But
even
like
sorcerers, though.
but sorcerers, probably even clerics as well to that extent. And
Clerics of the Wood. Yeah, I'd say there's clerics of the Wood, maybe.
But with blood magic and stuff like that, that would probably be the
yeah, that is, you're talking like the biggest part of it. Like I'd say there's probably studiers of it in like Mantara Thir now, but like they're probably a couple centuries behind Pivotal. Like that's the big thing, is blood magic is like it's all on the blood. It's humanity's first arcane component.
Yes. Yes.
You can repay, like, look, even like, I wouldn't give you guys mechanics for it, but in theory, if you had the same knowledge as someone from Pivotal, you could cast Revivify without needing a diamond if you replaced it with enough blood.
That's pretty cool.
Now, mind you, to cast Revivify, you may have to literally take 3 people's worth of blood, kill them to Revivify one, but like any component, in theory, can be replaced with blood.
Yeah.
Which is also like, I think there's definitely a moment in history when why is it a diamond not a ruby? Because that's what WotC decided it to be. I don't know, it's just the mechanics. It's just what it is. Diamonds sound fancier, I think a lot of people mind. But yeah, I think there's probably a moment during the 300-year war, or maybe like at the very start, like I'd say the first Wood Elves, like, because remember everything was Star Elf when they first came over, like a big part of that, like, so with the guiding light. I think there was a moment in history when like the Wood Elves of Pivotal started, like, did something, like, you're talking maybe, because like we know there's dragons over this side, not like your typical chromatic and metallic, but like I'd say there could have been like an ancient, like, let's say wasteland, or like imperial dragon, like light dragon, real dragon, whatever you want to, whatever dragon takes to your fancy, like an ancient dragon, and to protect their settlement and to try and fight back against the Ons in the initial fight, they slayed one of these ancient dragons to use all its blood. Like, they ritualistically got it, bound it, slit its throat in an altar, and that's where Pivotal is founded.
Ooh. Okay.
Its walls are the bones of an ancient dragon.
I'm gonna write that down.
Because remember, everything came over, like there wasn't really Wood Elves and stuff at that time, because that was a schism that happened during the War of the Gods.
Yes.
So, like, everything originally was Star Elves, and then when the Guiding Light got shattered into the Dying God, everyone got disconnected. Some fled to Mount Ondai, some stayed hunkered down in the Woad with the fighting and magic that they were studying there. Some fled underground, like the Starless. Some stayed on the river elves. Like, it's, everything was once upon a time Star Elf, and then there was a schism.
Yes, the Great Schism.
There are no Wood Elves on the other side. There are.
Yeah, there are.
The Matron of the Woods is a big component of them. Different culture entirely, though, but statistically same.
Different. Yeah. Elves on the other side of the world, very different story. Very different.
Well, actually, no. I suppose, Alonso, there is no Wood Elves on the other side of the world. There is no elves on the other side of the world.
Besides a very few survivors. Very few.
I correct myself there for Duke. There is no elves on the other side of the world.
You know what's going to be interesting, Des? You know what's going to be really interesting? What? The hidden little community of is it night elves on that side of the world?
Moon elves.
Moon elves, that's it. Of moon elves. The hidden little community that we found, and it had like the old queen, Moon Elf Queen. What happens if like they make their way over towards the other side of the world? That's going to be a very interesting meeting. It's gonna be, like,
I'm very curious what culture they would, because their culture is like, they were, probably remember, it used to be Sun and Moon Elves, and there was a war between them based on how the worship of the Dawn Watcher should be. That's how the first split of Star Elves happened.
Well, what was the discrepancies in that?
It was basically the approach on how they should act during the War of the Gods. The Moon Elves were far more ruthless. They were like, the Sun Elves were like, we are the rising of the sun, we are the dawn, we are here, like, we will do this right. And the Moon Elf says, basically, the Dawn Watcher, we are in the night, we are waiting for the dawn, and we must confront the terrors that await us while we get there. We need to make sure it's safe for those to awake.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it was
So I
basically
actually think
one where like the Dawn Walker is in, we're watching and we are risen with the dawn.
Mhm.
The others were it is night and we must survive for the dawn.
I think they would actually probably go towards Starless.
I think they could be very, very close to the Stardust. I think their culture is
I
like
think they would be.
ruthless. I think they could, yeah, a very close.
And both of them are more proactive with
Also,
their
both
approach.
of them are a matriarchal,
Yeah,
militaristic culture.
yeah, absolutely. And both very fanatical in that sense. Whereas like the
Yeah.
Paladins are very insular. Like they keep to themselves and they care about
You know what? I don't think the
themselves.
Sun Elves would go to anyone though. I don't think they would. I
No.
don't think they would vibe with a single Elvish culture.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like they would probably vibe with the general approach of the Paladins, but then the fact that Paladins
No,
completely
no,
completely
they would
disregard
also
the
see
old
Paladins
gods.
as like you abandoned the gods. Like that's the thing. Both of them are
Okay,
religious fanatics.
does anyone like the Paladins? Let's
The
keep it real.
Paladins like the Paladins.
No, because that's the
No,
thing.
I would
Like
also
they
say
are
the Moon Elves
very
would like the Paladins as well in a sense, but like because of like
well,
their
but
ruthlessness.
see, they're yes, but they're also too insular and they're not proactive enough. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. For at least from your description, the Moon Elves is that they believe that they should be at the forefront, like
Oh yeah.
pushing outwards, which the
But
Paladins are
even
like,
then,
no,
part of
they
this Moon Elves would view the Starless as cowards for fleeing underground. Like,
yeah, but it's fleeing underground while still fighting. That's the thing. Like, whereas the Paladins was like the approach of, okay, we're just gonna lock ourselves in the mountain. You're not gonna see us again. See you later. Um,
so
so
Clearswarm said,
it'd be very
perhaps
interesting.
there is a different tree that is parasitically attached to the world tree that is feeding on the blood sacrifice to the tree. That tree is called the Glutton Tree. This tree has its own druids that particularly treat people after the corruption of the Glutton Tree that is slowly trying to take over the world tree and consume all of the creatures. We have that.
Ooh,
We have that. But
yeah,
basically that is oh what's it called? Um the Blightwood Birch.
the Live
It's
Birch.
from one of the it's one of the heart trees from the other realms that basically sends its roots into the other realms, like kind of going back along it to try
It's
and absorb all positive energy. I mean,
it's
massive part of that
been
being blood.
yeah, it's been basically corrupted into being a parasite.
Yeah,
Now,
it is Clueless Farm, where it was okay, we got it. It's just called something different. But that
hmm
could be a very like colloquial like name that people would just give it. It's like that is you know, that's a glutton tree. That's it's not a heart tree because it just feeds on positivity and positive emotion and positive energy to put these things that we call remnant horrors out into the world to cause
yeah,
havoc.
I actually, but I really like that. Yeah, like the whole question. I mean, obviously, in terms of science and stuff like that, they're at least to our knowledge dead, or at least we know that there are some moon elves that have still existed. Um, so that would actually be a really interesting meeting.
Also,
Um,
how would they get
because
over though? How? It took generational ships for like we're getting into
yeah,
so much more people don't know about. It would be so difficult for them to get over without
oh
teleportation
no,
setup.
it would be. But there's two things. Like, first of all, we know that teleportation will be set up because obviously that's probably a major step. That would be one of the first things that would be done. Um, but also, like, we also do know of the existence of paths through the Feywild, the Fey paths that connect them.
True, they are
Um,
very difficult. They go through the night fate, which is very dangerous as well.
which is the thing though, is that like if you're being hunted by the Dragon King and your location has been learned, you would take that risk.
True, true. That look fair. That is very fair. Um, yeah, it's very interesting to think about. Also we have the other worry that the same being that genocided the elves on the other side wants to do the same thing to Quenthos.
That is true. Um, but
Like
it's going
the
to have its
strongest canonical, the Dragon King, the strongest canonical thing in our setting, full stop, who has genocided the elves, killed other old gods,
Mhm.
is
However,
coming.
he will actually be facing a tougher challenge this side because it's not just going to be gods that are asleep. Um,
True, true. But he is also two halves of the void, two thirds of the void dragon, of the
yeah,
being that
yeah.
ate four realms.
But hypothetically speaking, at like we know at least that there could be multiple old gods by that time on the other side of the world, plus ascended to aid them as well. Like if it came to it, and plus Jotuns as well, who have killed
Yeah.
old gods before. Like there are forces there that if they were able to
I
unite,
just love this hopium. I just love this hopium rap.
well, look, I know you, Des. You're not just going to be like, "Yep, there's not going to be a chance the world is destroyed."
Oh no,
Move
there's
on.
always a chance.
Um,
But do you remember the last time there was a chance?
I do, but look, that is on me, and that is wholly
Like
on
you
me.
also have to remember, you
Um,
say he has ascended, he has Jotuns. The Dragon King can spawn ancient dragons of chromatic or metallic variety at
yeah.
will.
Mhm.
That is more than enough to like match like dragons and giants were the first like major beings that came into being when the
Oh,
realms were.
yeah, but that's true. But like Jotuns, at least from what we've been told and what we know from in-game knowledge, had powers to rival the old gods in their
Yeah.
form. So imagine the Jotuns can still do that unless they've declined in their power somewhat.
Well, they're not unified, so that's a big part of it.
That's true.
Hey, look,
But at the
it
very
is. I will say this: the Dragon King against four other old gods, the Ascended gods, and the Jotuns together. It's like maybe an even fight.
But look, there is also the fact that he's going up against the Jotuns who have the secrets and the knowledge of how to shatter beings of that power, and B, look,
No, they know how to
fingers
shatter a being
crossed.
of half his power.
That's true, but also fingers crossed. The Guiding Light returns. The Guiding Light was part of the old gods that broke up the Void Dragon. You know, a being a
Yeah.
third more powerful than the Dragon King. So they would actually have that knowledge of, okay, at least we know how to go about it.
Well, no, the Dawn Watcher is the one who knew how to do it. He just had allies
yeah,
who
but
helped. The ritual
oh
lies
yeah,
with the
but I
Dawn Watcher.
imagine true, but I imagine his brother would have quite a bit of information and wouldn't just be clueless. Like,
It wouldn't be clueless, but he wouldn't be able to do it
well, he'd
without the
have a
Dawn
lot
Watcher.
of. But if he learned of those rituals, would he be able to still pull it off?
He would need to learn of those rituals from his brother.
That's true, but we've seen that the Dawn Watcher can still appear with knowledge intact.
Yeah.
I mean, he's quite
True.
literally appeared to me, and like he's actually appeared to two people this campaign.
True. But he's never appeared to another old god other than Kinasi.
True. But he could
Also, if he even has
through.
access to that knowledge anymore. Unless that's with his material form.
I mean, yeah, but like I imagine a being based like around knowledge and stuff like that probably would have retained it, unless he purposely forgot it.
Well, you also have a hope that it's knowledge, not an artifact, that lies with the Dawn Watcher.
No, look, that is true. I just feel like you probably wouldn't go for an artifact again, considering that's also played quite heavily into things so far, like the use of artifacts. That you probably take a different approach to it. That's just
you
me,
could say
though.
that's kind of like my like calling card is the use of artifacts.
Yeah. We also know, yeah, but then I also feel like you also try and move against that sometimes and do things a little bit different to keep us on our toes. But then we also know that the other third to the Void Dragon exists. It's still there. The matron is still there.
Yeah.
So they still have that on their side potentially.
That's not awake though. It's like that is currently as useful as any of the other sleeping gods.
True, but like here's the thing, it's gonna be down the line. Like there is time for all of this to come into plan. Because I know that you're not just it's hopium because I know you're not gonna give us like here's the apocalypse, the world's doomed. Because I know that there's too much effort has gone into the world just to be like,
oh god no, destroyed. Like I want to like I'll say this with utmost confidence. If it comes down to it and like future campaign Dragon King comes over and y'all fuck up, I have no issue wiping the slate clean on Quenthus.
Yeah, I know that.
I did it to Darapatin because you also know the post-apocalyptic isn't. It's only the end of elves and other old gods and just making the Dragon King stronger.
Yeah, but does he, on the other side of the world, encounter things that lead him to the matron and be like, okay, I'm going to consume that as well. Oh, look, I'm the Void Dragon. Oh, look, there goes Quenthus, gets destroyed.
If the knowledge is forgotten, maybe it was put in some kind of super ancient library that is some kind of demi-plane that can be accessed through some kind of special way of key. There's a lot of libraries like that in the setting. If the knowledge is somewhere, if it's not just with the old god, maybe. Also, I love how just the chat is watching us argue the both points sides of this as me just like scaring you for the fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not scared in that sense because I know that you'll have a plan for us in terms
Look,
of
if
when
I
it does
didn't have a
happen.
plan, it wouldn't be a campaign.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing about trying to create a setting is that like you need to give players enough agency within like campaign altering events like that. Unless you really just fucking hate the world and you want to destroy it.
Right, just fucking hit the doomsday button.
But I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of this place. Delete.
Bro, fucking Dragon King stubs his toe, accidentally falls into the Vitrisian and hits the matron of the woods and just absorbs her by mistake. Oh, she eats the realm. Goodbye, Quintus.
Miss me with that shit. Well, there's also like the other part, which is like the Queller gods.
Yeah.
What the fuck is? Who knows?
They didn't stop the Dragon King yet, so.
True, but like then there's also the Eye of Ruin, who has a weapon that can kill gods.
So does the Dragon King.
Well, yeah, look, we know the Dragon King has it. The question is more so, what does the other side have? Like, for me at least, audience not so much, but for me, I know what the Dragon King has. It's more so like lining up now, like what other things, like the tools that we have.
You're trying to meet force with force. What avenues do you have to fight back?
Yes, like what are the avenues that we have that we can explore? What are some of the potential things that will come up in future campaigns?
Look, I can't answer that because that's future campaign shit.
Absolutely not. This is me just spinning off ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. No, as you said, I've like just plain and simple. I'm not just gonna have the Dragon King come over and win, but in the same breath, it's gonna be tough. We could see the death of, like you say, there's maybe 3 old gods alive at that stage, like
3 or 4, depending on how things go.
So Fajik tip that I was saying, creating a world with your players' influence is very satisfying. You know, absolutely. I've loved having Raph involved in this, and also just the big part of Quentin is playing out the history, so the party party has a chance to like influence the future.
Yeah, I mean, look, Quintos as a setting is somewhere that I would love to see. Like, even one of the things I'm actually most interested in world building is the setting post, like, hypothetically speaking, if the Dragon King is defeated, what would the setting look like after that? How would it be shaped? Like, what would it look like?
We've talked about this a little bit off stream, and it's like we've talked, and really both of us know that it's a massive task because it's going to require so much to do.
But it's so interesting. We can have so much fun with it. So honestly, like that is something I am very excited to hopefully, at some stage be able to get into, provided
I would love to. I would love to explore that. Like again, don't get me wrong. I don't want the Dragon King to win. Like
yes,
and would serve so much money on an animated live action Quintus show. Absolutely, if you joke, we only need 700 grand by Critical Role standards.
Yeah, so
that's a 70 grand an episode. So look, bro, I would love it. I don't know if we'll ever get it. But what I would love to do when I have more time is I would like, just personally as a writer, I would like to write a book, like not just like a setting book, like a novel on some of the, like a hero's adventure in Quintus. I don't know if I do one of our parties. I'd probably do like a standalone story, like of something major between campaigns. I would love that, just as like someone who's exploring the idea of novelists. I just don't have time right now. In the future, maybe. Or even just short stories would be cool. Because I write it a lot. Yeah. I write a fuck ton. Bro, Toreth, am I right?
I mean, look, fucking Toreth, fucking Toreth.
Look, we actually have some decent notes. If you look at those bullet points, if they had more words in them, we'd be doing really well right now.
Look, Des, quality over quantity, okay? Quality.
Yeah. And 1 second. You know what? I've got an idea of how to make this look like we've done more rap. Got it.
No.
Increase the font size, increase the letter spacing.
We just need to have like a lot of invisible words in there to make it look like fill it out a bit, like space it out.
Actually, wait.
Increase the word count.
Here we are. Look, this shows that there's work going to be done.
Yeah.
Absolutely based. Bro.
God, look at that stuff we've got down, man.
Man, look how fucking good we've done today. We've gotten.
See, it was interesting before we started. I was like, yeah, like we could almost like start working on like a settlement in the other half of the world. Wouldn't that be fun? We can like really flesh it out. Nah, like we
Yeah,
kind of
people.
have
We worked on it. We worked on it. We know that the walls are made of dragon bones. That's pretty fucking cool.
You know what?
No cap. We actually did get some cool notes down on people and like
We
what
did
the
get
elves
some
and
cool
like the
notes.
cultural distinction. We just didn't write a lot of it. Like,
Yes, yeah, no, we have, and like, I think that the whole talk about like the cultural distinction between both sides of the world, interesting.
yeah, no, like a lot of it was just conversational. We just forgot to write it down. A lot of it because it's just like what we do. It's kind of
Yeah.
pretty standard for us.
Yeah, I think in my mind, if there was to be one race that would probably look to leave the world and set up permanent civilization outside of it, I would probably think it would probably be more of the goblinoid species, probably more of the hobgoblins and that kind.
Yeah, I could see the hobgoblins and
Um,
bugbears and goblins,
because
leaving and making their own
yeah.
society.
I mean, look, I almost see them as potentially being like not entirely native to the world at the same sense as pioneers and Alicids, but more so probably were refugees there very early on
And
from
adapted a
the
life.
Earth
Yeah, absolutely.
and adapted and just very much grew into it and called it their home.
No, absolutely. Yeah, right. This is yeah, I think just because I know my own time, kind of want to be done a little bit before 2 today, so we might just call it there.
Yeah.
Been pretty good today. Go about 7 minutes ago, but yeah. So if you liked what the distraction you saw today, drop a follow. We're on 402 now. We're only 18 people away from 420, which is a very funny number. We've got a Discord. You should come hang out with us. Follow us on all our socials. Come live the good life over in the Elder Scribe. Thanks for people who followed today. For Lindsay, thanks for everyone who chatted today. Thanks for the donuts, Shajuk. It's been a pleasure being back on a Wednesday. I can't guarantee we'll be back next Wednesday until Friday when I get my schedule, but fingers crossed. I don't know what work has in store for me, but yeah, we will be back Monday at the very least in some form. We'll see you then.
Yes.
Bye.
See you guys.